Each universe in infinite space possesses its own central sun, and the addition of all of those spiritual suns constitutes the Ein Sof, or the protocosmos, the solar absolute. The solar absolute is formed by multiple transcendental and divine spiritual suns. The emanation of our omni-merciful and sacred solar absolute is that which H.P. Blavatsky denominates the great breadth, profoundly unknowable to itself. A great deal has been spoken of the sacred solar absolute, and it is obvious that each solar system is governed by one of these spiritual suns. Indeed, these are extraordinary spiritual suns that sparkle with infinite splendor in space. These are radiant spheres that astronomers will never perceive through their telescopes. This means that our organization of worlds possesses its own sacred absolute sun, as well as the other solar systems of the inalterable infinite. The protocosmos, or first cosmos, is infinitely divine, ineffable. No mechanical principle exists within it. It is governed by one unique law. If you profoundly reflect on the solar absolute, you will see that beyond it exists the most complete liberty, the most absolute happiness, because everything is governed by that singular law. Unquestionably, within the sacred solar absolute, in the central spiritual sun of this system in which we live, move, and have our being, there does not exist any type of mechanization. Therefore, it is obvious that the most complete blessing reigns there. It is unquestionable that in the central spiritual sun, governed by the unique law, exists the unutterable happiness of the eternal living God. Unfortunately, while we get further and further from the sacred absolute sun, we penetrate each time into more and more complicated worlds where automatism, mechanization, and pain are introduced. Obviously, in the second cosmos of the three laws, the Aeocosmos, planets, suns, and firmament, joy is incomparable because there is less materialism. In that region, every atom processes only 3 atoms of the absolute within its interior nature. How distinct is the third cosmos, the macrocosmos, our galaxy, the Milky Way, which is governed by 6 laws. There, materiality increases because any of its atoms possesses 6 atoms of the absolute within its interior. By penetrating into the fourth cosmos, the deutercosmos, our solar system, which is governed by 12 laws, we find more dense matter due to the concrete fact that any of its atoms possesses 12 atoms of the absolute. if we carefully examine the fifth cosmos, the mesocosmos, the planet Earth, governed by 24 laws, we will see that any of its atoms possesses 24 atoms of the Absolute within its interior nature. Let us study in detail the sixth cosmos, the microcosmos, the human being, which is governed by 48 laws. We will see, by means of divine clairvoyance, that any atom of the human organism possesses 48 atoms of the Absolute. Let us descend a little more and enter into the kingdom of the most crude materialism, the seventh cosmos, tritocosmos, the infernal worlds. We will discover that under the crust of the planet where we live, the first infradimensional zone governed by 96 laws exists. The density of this region has increased frightfully because any atom processes 96 atoms of the Absolute within its intimate nature. In the second infernal zone, every atom possesses 192 atoms of the Absolute. In the third zone, every atom possesses 384 atoms of the Absolute, etc. And the materialism increases in a very frightful and horrific way. Obviously, we become independent in the progressive way from the will of the Absolute when we fall into the complicated mechanics of this great nature, when we become submerged within more and more complicated laws. If we want to reconquer freedom, we must liberate ourselves from too much mechanization and too many laws, and return unto the Father. Clearly, we must fight in a vigorous way in order to liberate ourselves from the 48, 24, 12, 6, and 3 laws in order to really return into the sacred absolute sun of our solar system. There is a divine ray within the human being. That ray wants to return back into its own star that has always smiled upon it. The star that guides our interior is a super divine atom from the abstract absolute space. The Kabbalistic name of that atom is the sacred Soph. The Soph is our atomic star. This star radiates within the absolute abstract space, full of glory. Precisely in this order, Keter, the Father, Chokmah, the Son, and Binah, the Holy Spirit of every human being, emanate from this star. The Ein Sof, the star that guides our interior, sent its ray into the world in order to become cognizant of its own happiness. Happiness without cognizance of happiness is not real happiness. The ray, the spirit, had cognizance as a mineral, plant, and animal. When the ray incarnated for the first time within the wild and primitive human body, the ray awoke as a human being and had self-cognizance of its own happiness. then the ray could have returned into its own star that guides its interior. Disgracefully, within the profound bosom of the dense jungle, wild desire gave birth to the I. The instinctive forces of nature trapped the innocent mind of the human being, and the false mirage of desire emerged. Then, the I continued reincarnating in order to satisfy its desires. Thus, we remained submitted to the law of evolution and karma. Experiences and pain complicated the I. Evolution is a complicated process of the energy. The I became strong with experiences. Now it is too late. Millions of people have been converted into monstrous demons. Only a tremendous revolution can save us from the abyss. When the human being dissolves the I, then there is a complete revolution. Human beings will stop suffering when they are capable of dissolving the I. Pain is the result of our evil deeds. Pain is Satan, the psychological I, because Satan is the one that makes the evil deeds. The abstract absolute space, the universal spirit of life, is absolute happiness, supreme peace and abundance. Those who make mysticism out of pain are masochists. Satan was the creator of pain. Pain is satanic. No one can be liberated with pain. We need to be alchemists. The I is dissolved with alchemy. Desire is the root of the I. Desire is transmuted with alchemy. If you want to annihilate desire, you need to transmute. Sexual desire is transformed into willpower, and willpower is fire. Miserly desire, greed, is transmuted into altruism. Anger, frustrated desire, is transmuted into sweetness. Envy, frustrated desire, is transmuted into happiness for the good of others. The worlds of desire are transmuted into words of wisdom. Analyze all the human defects and you will see that they have their foundation in desire. Transmute desire with alchemy, and desire will be annihilated. Whosoever annihilates desire dissolves the I. Whosoever dissolves the I is saved from the abyss and returns into his own interior star that has always smiled onto him. Only with holy alchemy we can dissolve the I. The fundamental base of alchemy is the Arcanum AZF. The angels, archangels, seraphim, potencies, thrones, etc. are the exact outcome of tremendous interior revolutions. We already passed through an involution, the descent of spirit into matter. We already suffer horribly in the evolution, a complicated process of the energy. Now, a complete revolution is urgent, the dissolution of the I. No one can be happy until reaching his interior star. We return to the super divine atom based only on internal revolutions. Little by little, we pass through the angelic, archangelic, seraphic, logoic states until finally the ray will fuse with its star, the Ein Soph that shines with happiness. The abyss is terribly painful. The horrible antithesis of the Ein Soph is the abyss, the Klipoth of Kabbalah. The Klipoth are atomic, tenebrous. They belong to the lunar path. Let us analyze the divine primordial atom from which the 10 sephiroth of the Kabbalah emanate. If we self-observe, we find the physical body, the ethereal or vital body, the astral body or body of desires, the animal mental body, and the essence normally bottled up within the I. Beyond this essence exists the divine triad that is not incarnated within the human being, the causal body, the human soul, manas, the Buddhic body, the divine soul, the atmic body, the innermost. The essence and the causal body are related because the essence is a fraction of the causal body. We have a fraction of the human soul incarnated. This is the essence, or Buddhata. Atman, in himself, is the ineffable being. The one who is beyond time and eternity, without end of days. He does not die, neither reincarnates. The ego is what returns, but Atman is absolutely perfect. Atman unfolds himself into the spiritual soul. The spiritual soul unfolds into the human soul, who is the superior manas. The human soul unfolds into the essence, or Buddhata. In total, these are principles. This essence is the one that incarnates in its 4 vehicles. The essence is dressed with them and remains bottled up within the psychological I, the ego. The mental body, the body of desires, the ethereal body, and the physical body integrate the personality. The essence remains bottled up within the ego when penetrating these bodies. That which returns is a fraction of the human soul. Beyond the theosophical triad exists a ray that unites us to the Absolute. This ray within the human being is the resplendent dragon of wisdom, the internal Christ, the sephirotic crown. The Kabbalah describes it as follows: Kether, the Ancient of Days; Hokmah, the Son, the Cosmic Christ; and Binah, the Holy Spirit. The sephirotic crown is the first triad that emanates from the Ein Soph. In the final synthesis, each one of us is nothing but an atom of the absolute abstract space, the Ein Soph, which is found secretly related with the pineal gland, Sahasrara chakra, or Church of Laodicea. We must make a specific differentiation between the Ein Soph and the Ein Soph Paranishpana. In the Ein Soph, interior realization of the self does not exist. But in the Ein Soph Paranishpana, interior realization of the self does exist. Any Mahatma knows very well that before entering into the Absolute, the solar bodies must be dissolved. The day in which we will be liberated, we will leave. We will abandon all of the vehicles. For what purpose do we build the solar bodies? With which purpose do we descend into the ninth sphere if we must abandon the solar bodies? With what purpose do we build something that we are not going to use? An atomic seed from each one of these Christic vehicles remains when they are dissolved. It is clear that in these vehicles, 4 atomic seeds remain. It is undubitable that these atoms correspond to the physical, astral, mental, and causal bodies. It is obvious that the 4 atomic seeds are absorbed within the super divine atom, the Ein Soph Paranishpana, along with the essence, spiritual principles, laws, and 3 primary forces. Afterwards comes the profound night of the Mahapralaya. The Ein Soph, without intimate realization of the self, does not possess the 4 atomic seeds. It is just a simple atom of the absolute abstract space with only 3 primary forces, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit within. The Paranishpana atom of a master that has been liberated is very distinct from the Ein Soph atom that is without realization of the self. In the aurora of a Mahamanvantara, a self-realized master unfolds his bodies by putting their germs into activity. He possesses his solar bodies. He can restore them at any moment that he wishes. The fact of having built these bodies gives him autonomous cognizance. The Ein Soph that possesses the atomic seeds can reincarnate at the hour that it pleases, and it remains dressed with its solar bodies. When the Ein Soph wishes to manifest itself, it emanates these solar atom seeds and appears at any given place in space. There is a formula that defines all of this. C-O-N-H. These are 4 forces, the 4 bodies of the initiate, 4 bodies with which the deity is dressed when the deity wants to be manifested. C is equal to carbon. In alchemy, the letter C symbolizes the conscious body of willpower. It is the carbon of occult chemistry. O is equal to oxygen. In alchemy, the letter O symbolizes the true solar mental body, which was built in the forge of the Cyclops, the oxygen of sacred chemistry. N equals nitrogen. In alchemy, the letter N symbolizes the authentic solar astral body, which is very different from the body of desires. It is obvious that the legitimate sidereal body is the nitrogen of occult chemistry. H equals to hydrogen. In alchemy, the H symbolizes the physical body, the three-dimensional vehicle of flesh and bones. The four atoms are within the Soph Paranishpana, and from there emanate the four bodies with which the deity dresses itself. The deity builds them instantaneously. In other words, at any given moment, when the deity wishes to work in a world for the good of humanity, and then it appears as a self-cognizant master, owner of life and death. Three primary forces: the holy affirmation, the Father; the holy negation, the Son; the holy reconciliation, the Holy Spirit. These three primary forces manifest themselves through the three atoms C-O-N, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. The H, hydrogen, is a force that is independent from the other three. Therefore, it is the physical vehicle which serves as an instrument for the body of will, mental and astral bodies. We do not exaggerate if we emphasize the alchemist's transcendental idea that an Ein Soph Paranishpana atom possesses within itself the four atom seeds C-O-N-H. With these four alchemical atoms, the Ein Soph Paranishpana rebuilds the Merkaba, the chariot, the solar bodies, in order to enter into any universe when it is necessary. We must not forget that Merkaba is the chariot of the centuries, the celestial human being of Kabbalah. As a sequence, we can and must affirm that those who have not performed the work in the ninth sphere, sex, indeed, do not possess the chariot, the Merkaba. It is unquestionable that everything changes in the active field of the Prakriti due to the modifications of the Triguna Maya Shakti, and that we, the human beings, also modify ourselves in a positive or negative way. But if we do not build the chariot, the Merkaba, the Ein Soph remains without intimate realization of the self. Those who have not eliminated the Abhayan Samskara, innate fear, will flee from the ninth sphere by telling others that the work in the forge of the Cyclops, sex, is worthless. These are the hypocritical Pharisees who strain at a mosquito but swallow up a camel. Matthew 23:24. These are the failed ones who do not enter into the kingdom, thereby not allowing others to enter. Truly, sex is a stumbling rock and a rock of offense.